Ready?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, characters. This is another RWBY Talks video. If you haven't been watching the previous ones, if you haven't, thanks for clicking on this. And if you have, thank you even more.
Because we talk
a lot.
Alright. So this is kind of a continuation. In a previous video, we've established the basic plot of the 6 seasons to what we can surmise.
Very, very briefly summarized it.
I mean,
so you know where we're coming from.
But briefly for us.
Well, for 6 volumes.
So for this, we're going to be talking about Volume 6 and a lot of characters who got the most development.
Well, so far
this season.
We're dying to talk about
spoilers for Volume 6 in its entirety so far.
Do not watch this if you've not seen every single episode, including the one that only first members get to see.
I mean, I guess we should say what video is out around now.
We just saw 9 just came out.
Yeah, 9.
Episode 9. So if you've not seen episode 9, don't watch this. Or do watch it and be prepared for spoilers.
Don't be spoiled.
I won't feel guilty if you watch it because it was your fault.
Alright.
Alright, I don't care really what order we go in here. I just wrote them down, so you want to talk about RWBY first? Or Qrow? Or
Qrow would be kind of a short topic, I feel like.
Qrow's not a short one.
Well, maybe. I don't know. In my mind, it's shorter. Because I don't know how short it
RWBY! Well, as we mentioned in the last video, RWBY starts off season 1 very innocent. And we love her for that. But girl! Am I right?
Yeah, she learned things that aren't quite as simple as she thought they were.
I mean, she is still a very simple soul, and yes, stay that way, don't ever change, but
she's learned that basically everybody else isn't.
People aren't always what they say.
Granted, it's not like she doesn't have her own issues, it's just...
She has her flaws, like everyone else, but she also has something else. A spark. Kind of coming from him a little bit of hollow praise, but still.
A spark I can manipulate and use for my own purposes.
Okay. That's an R. Osmond video. Leave that alone for now.
Alright,
RWBY isn't your typical innocent protagonist in that it's not like she's unaware that evil happens. She knows. I mean, she wants to fight Grimm, and I do like that like even the most innocent people on the show are not ignorant of the fact that evil is real. It's out there. We gotta like kill it. You know, in fact, she's super stoked to do that. Laser beam monsters with my eyeballs.
Of course, she's stop thinking like that.
Stop thinking like that, yeah. Because we all know true strength does not come from having laser beam eyeballs.
Even though that is pretty cool.
It comes from within.
I still think Superman would win.
If you think that's cheesy, then you're watching the wrong show. Anyway, just being honest. Because yes, we find out that RWBY's real power comes from within and also from training and using her semblance. And it's not really about having a special magic power. That's just kind of a boost. At least that's what Maria thinks. Now, Maria's not infallible, but she seems like pretty common sense kind of person. And I do like her, so...
There's 3 generations of scythe users.
Yeah, I think that's funny.
Hers are more of sickles, so emeralds. Did Emerald base her habits off of the Reaper?
That would be an amazing thing to find out, but I doubt it.
But they're sickles, like...
They're small ones, though.
Yeah, but Maria's were on the smaller side.
Still, if we meet Emerald meets Maria's like, oh, you're the Grim Reaper! I will scream. Maybe not scream, but I'll lose it in a good way.
Fans will go crazy.
Anyway, let's get back to talking about RWBY.
Yeah.
So, as has been pointed out by multiple sources, RWBY is finally asking questions this volume around. But I think that RWBY's true growth isn't necessarily asking questions, it's what she does when she gets the answers.
Yeah.
When she's faced with realities that are pretty crushing, like Qrow's drinking problem, Pyrrha and Penny dying, and especially since it seems like Penny at least definitely died for nothing. Pyrrha, yeah, well, we're a little bit more, I guess, at peace with that after episode 9. I mean, we have a long ways to go, but we're finally starting to kind of make some sense of the insanity. But Penny still very much died for nothing, and a lot of people, including Ruby's mom maybe, died for a lie. And Ruby is handling this by choosing, she says, to do things her way, not Ozpin's way.
She's basically just her saying, stop telling me I can't help.
Just to keep going, to not accept defeat, because she can still try.
And to stick with her morals. Ozpin abandoned his morals. And when he found out that what he wanted to do seemed impossible, he just continued down a downward spiral. But that's not what RWBY wants to do.
She's choosing instead to believe in people and to believe that they can help each other through this, even though they're not perfect. And they don't know what they're doing, but she believes there is a way. And even if there is no way, that you should still try.
Which is a pretty big part of the show, I think.
A very, very big part of both this volume and volume 4. So, volume 5, it seemed like we were reading back to, we actually have answers. And volume 6 was like, nope, we didn't have answers after all.
We didn't have anything, really.
Nothing. Screw you, everyone who was
just like
banking on Ozpin having a plan. Which was everyone on the show.
All right. I never had a plan.
He never had a plan?
It's ridiculous.
Plans are for suckers.
Plans are for stupid people who are out of options.
I'm sorry. It's just... he's just so annoying. Anyway, I'm sorry.
If he had a physical face...
All right, Ruby's journey plays a little bit into Oscars.
Who's the next person on the list, coincidentally?
My poor baby.
Yeah.
So, Oscar's like everyone's foster kid.
This might be a theory that a lot of people have come to.
I'm sure it will be popping up, but it's too late. It's too early for reaction videos, so we're just going to say it.
We're just going to make the video now so we can say we're first.
We're calling it now. We might be wrong, but this is my gut feeling.
We think Ozpin took over Oscar after he left the house.
After John yelled at him.
We think Oscar intended to run away and Ozpin stopped him.
We think it's Ozpin. We do. We think Ozpin took a page from what John yelled at him and decided to pretend to be Oscar. Here is why. Up until this point, Oscar has been a very normal kid in that he has emotions, he has fears, he gets bent out of shape. He kind of looks at the ground and isn't sure.
He's a very nervous, insecure person.
He isn't sure what to say to people.
Especially since it doesn't really feel like he belongs there. He just came because Ozpin said he needed to. But now everything Ozpin's told him has been a lie, so maybe he thinks he doesn't need to be there.
And now that he is faced with this question, he does what Oscar would do. I mean, decides to stay. Oscar, we think, would eventually come to that decision. But the way he does it is weird. He's very calm. Collected.
He does it way too quickly.
It's like he's really thought it out beforehand, and I'm thinking, this is not Oscar. Oscar doesn't act like this. Oscar is a lot more, honestly, real. It didn't feel real. It felt like Oz.
He left the house to go grocery shopping.
Get a coat that makes him
Didn't tell anyone or bring anyone. Bought a new weird outfit for some reason.
That looks a lot like Oz.
And then went home and made casserole. Does that sound like something a kid would do?
Does that sound like Oscar to you? It does not sound like Oscar. It felt very planned out, very premeditated, and very un-Oscar-like. Now, that he would accept John's apology is not a question, but the way he did it.
The motivation is a bit more fuzzy. I think Ozpin's just trying to keep the group together for some reason, but I don't know what his agenda is.
He wants to watch them. He's probably counting on them coming up with a plan, which he can't. I mean, he can't get into Atlas right now.
I will admit, getting Oscar to stay was actually a mature thing, but if he did that by taking him over, he's trying to be mature, but
you think that
messed up and controlling everything at the same time.
He could be planning on trying to ditch them once they get to Atlas and get to Ironwood first, so he gets his version of the story. I'm not saying for sure. It's just a thought. Is that his plan? Could it have been his plan the whole time? I don't know. That's a theory. We're going to talk about, though, a little bit of what Oscar's been through before this happened and why that part of the reason we think this is not Oscar right now.
The only other option I could think of is that Ozpin has started to form into Oscar's being more, and they've started to become the same consciousness more.
That seems way too quick.
But I feel like that's a really drastic change to happen so quickly. I feel like it would be more subtle.
Very quickly.
And then eventually come to a head when they realize he's been actually acting strange the entire time. But in this circumstance,
it's like Miss Rose.
You can already tell.
I'm sorry, Miss Rose. You know, that's what we think.
That's our idea.
We think he'll say that, and Ruby will be like,
Hey,
You're not Oscar. Anyway, but what Oscar's been going through up till this point, which again makes me think it's not Oscar right now, is kind of what you would expect somebody who had someone living inside their head to go through. I mean, full-on identity crisis.
Him running away, I could imagine being what he was actually trying to do, because he actually ran away from his aunt, as we can tell. I'm just trying to make a point here, Joy. You've done this before.
Shh.
I can leave.
Look, Elizabeth, all I'm saying is we already talked about this part, and we only have 10 minutes left.
Like, I just said it was interesting to bring up.
It is, but we need to like get to what he's actually been going through.
Right. I just
not speculation.
Anyway.
Because we're just speculating right now. We need to talk about
putting a footnote, Joy.
What's actually happened, though?
Get back on the subject.
I was. Ugh. Discussions. Anyway, what's actually happened is him having an identity crisis, and just Oscar from the beginning was established as somebody who realized that this was insane, but was willing to go along with it because he felt like it was the right thing to do. Ozpin almost seemed to wonder why he felt that way, too.
Oscar
you're doing this probably it's the right
wanted
thing.
To help people, but now that he knows what he knows, he's probably wondering, did he actually do the right thing? Because could he trust that Ozpin actually wanted him to come to do the right thing?
Did I screw everybody? Or did I do the right thing?
Like,
I don't know.
He's probably wondering, should I even be here?
I mean, part of what he said was probably true. I just think it was Ozpin saying it. But yeah, he's probably had doubts exactly like what John was saying. And for a good reason, because how do you know?
How do you know?
So yeah, that's a problem.
A lot of insecurities, maybe some self-blame.
And RWBY is trying to make him feel better, but he's
one else is
he's just
really
going to be another one of his lives, you know?
Yeah.
So Oscar's main struggle is with identity and will and feeling like he is his own person.
And knowing what to do.
Which is kind of too relatable to even be funny. It's not really funny
And in his circumstances, really kind of serious.
Serious, yeah. So we're not sure what's going to happen with that.
Also, no one's really helping. Thanks a lot, guys.
Through this season, that's become more apparent is that his problem is feeling like he's not his own person. Which seemed like he was okay with in Volume 5, but definitely is getting back to him actually having doubts and stuff. So,
well, in Volume 5, they were doing a lot of things.
That's true. It was kind of like they were too busy
and they didn't
everyone
know
to
what they knew.
think about it. So,
all right. So we aren't even like halfway through the list, and we only have like 8 minutes. So let's just move on. Well, 7 anyway. Next one on the list: Qrow, the drunk bird.
Now, to be honest, when Qrow was introduced, I wasn't sure how to feel. I mean, I liked him, but I wasn't sure I should. And over time, I'm like, okay, I like this guy. And then Volume 4 came on, and I'm like, I really, really like him. And Qrow was just this big old marshmallow, pretending to be like this big tough guy, and he loves RWBY, and he's great. And now Volume 6 hit, and suddenly, oh my gosh,
he is completely depression.
The feathers, the Qrow feathers hit the fan of reality, right? Sorry for that metaphor, but if you haven't been watching or you want us to recap, he has a drinking problem, which anyone who watched knows, and that has gotten progressively worse. And once he found out the truth about Ozpin, it was pretty clear he was questioning whether his life had any meaning whatsoever. Why he's even sticking around is, I don't think it's really debatable. It's obviously for RWBY, but he's not really trying. The only reason he hasn't left is because he doesn't want to ditch them, but it's clear that mostly his heart is just not in it because Ozpin kind of just stomped on it. And I feel very bad for Qrow, and I think how he's feeling makes perfect sense because he was never the most stable person to begin with. I mean, it's been hinted that his drinking problem is because of grief and guilt, and that he blamed himself for Summer dying, and probably that he was in love with her.
The sad thing is, he wants to protect people because he knows that, like, RWBY is a vulnerable person still, but he feels like he can't be too close because...
Semblance.
Yeah.
Having a crappy semblance doesn't help.
So it's kind of been a problem he's had the entire show.
Like his song, Bad Luck Charm says, Qrow has come to feel like he's kind of a curse to this group, and they'd be better off without him. And so he's pretty much checking out emotionally and physically as much as possible without actually checking out, because, of course, that's a jerk move. Now, as of the last episode, he now has a choice. He could check out completely, or he could actually really try.
I think we know what he's going to do.
I'm not sure. I mean, I know what
eventually
his better self would do, but he's not in a good state right now. Qrow's an interesting example of just coming from a bad background, really scarring you, having a lot of guilt and stuff, and having somebody invest in your life, but how devastating it can be when you find out they were using you the whole time. I mean, I hope you've never had that experience, but you would suck. You can imagine it would suck. And the guy needs help. But it's really sad because RWBY, Oscar, and Qrow, they're basically all intertwined in their development because none of them are quite independent from each other. You know, they're all a part of each other's problem, a part of each other's solution, I think, if they could just see it. RWBY's trying to help, but Qrow won't let her. And it's gotten to be more and more of a problem over the season, and if by the end he either doesn't go cold turkey or freaking leave, I don't know what.
I feel like if he tries to leave, he's going to have some sort of confrontation with the character. She's going to be like...
Or he's going to realize that he needs to come back and help them.
Yeah. I think that him deciding it of his own volition would be good for his character, but I feel like someone would have to push him to that point still because he's going on a downward spiral. But hopefully he won't leave the group.
Hopefully.
Yeah, even though that would...
I don't think we really have time to cover the other three with any justice.
Well, maybe we can fit in John.
I don't know. There's what? We have 3 minutes.
We better try. I think Emerald and Mercury would actually be shorter.
Emerald and Mercury, let's talk about them. We need more time for John.
So basically...
Finally!
Questions have rose.
Oh, I have been waiting for this.
Mercury isn't actually quite as ignorant as I thought he was.
He's not as much of a moron as we thought.
And Emerald is actually starting to question, do I actually want to be working for a bunch of psychopaths? Does my boss
do I care? Actually want to do this?
And Hazel has disappeared, so...
Well, I still think he hasn't disappeared. He's just not there. But he wasn't there for the conversation. But Emerald is like, I'm tired of being kept in the dark. You know, she doesn't, as it turns out, and does not surprise us, that she really doesn't know what Salem is planning to do. According to Mercury, they've been promised power, everything they want, but they're both starting, I think, to wonder, what does Salem mean by that? Because it's not looking good. And Emerald's like, well, what are you even here for, Mercury? And Mercury's like, because it just feels right, because I'm like a psycho. But then he says what made me almost like him. Cinder doesn't love you. And we're just kind of...
She doesn't even care.
Just, boom! They just start going at it. And
it's kind of obvious because he has a past that kind of that made him have to learn. Some people just don't care.
Probably Cinder reminds him of his dad, I would think.
I would think so.
Because she's probably got the same kind of crazy, kill people sort of thing.
I know crazy, and that's the same kind of crazy.
And Emerald was like totally in denial, but you could tell from the way she was acting, she kind of knows she's in denial. She knows. It's a matter of time before one of them snaps for real, and Tyrion even seems to realize this as he gets in on the conversation and threatens them. But he does make at least he gives them one good point that if you're not in this all the way, you shouldn't be in this at all, because obviously if you're not completely okay with destroying the world and innocent people, you shouldn't be doing it. And it seems weird that that's coming from Tyrion.
The way he says it, people.
But he's not wrong. You shouldn't be doing that.
And of course, it got a little bit of an allude to Watts.
Shouldn't be doing it anyway.
But he hasn't really gotten any development.
Watts, the guy who's going to become really scary in the next volume, probably. Yeah. Still don't know what his deal is. But Yeah. So, Emerald and Mercury are asking questions, and I was playing back into the truth thing, and it was great. And also into what is love, I think, which is another theme of this volume. And just why do you do what you do?
Yeah, I started to develop them because they're finally starting to ask questions and realize that the situation is getting kind of bad.
And it was really great to see that both of them were still willing to defend each other even when they were furious. So
yeah, they're starting to ask
good job,
questions.
Emerald and Mercury.
Maybe
you don't completely suck.
Yeah, maybe they'll start to awaken that little voice in their head that's like, stop being an idiot and a jerk. But otherwise,
we've gotten hints that Emerald has a conscience pretty much since her introduction. But finding out that Mercury is missing some of his soul, well, actually wasn't that surprising.
Maybe that's why he's such a jerk all the time.
Maybe. Are they saying that sociopaths are missing a piece of their soul?
They're right.
Right? But wow. That's pretty deep. That's a pretty huge statement.
I wonder if they're going to explain the whole how his semblance is stolen and if he could ever get it back. But
frankly, I don't feel like that's important. So much as him just knowing that doesn't have to define him.
Well, it's a piece of it's the manifestation of his soul. I think it's pretty important.
Yeah, but can you be a complete person without having it? John wasn't incomplete just because he hadn't activated his semblance. I mean, he thought he was.
Yes, but he's still the capability of having it.
I mean, what about all the people
He had it, he just didn't activate it. Mercury doesn't actually have it.
That is true.
So,
but isn't he still a person? He still has an aura, does he not? He just doesn't have a semblance.
I don't know. Did we see him use his aura?
He must have an aura because he has coloring. You know, people without an aura would just be like the Gram.
People who've exhausted their aura. But I don't know.
So, obviously he still has a soul. It's just damaged.
So I feel like to restore his character, if they're ever going to do a redemption arc, he'd have to get that piece of his soul back. Because, I mean, you can't just not have a piece of your soul.
I don't know. But obviously killing his dad didn't do it. I can tell you, killing someone will not give you your soul back. So,
yeah. So maybe they'll...
There's a little bit of truth just to, like, shoot your way. Not that you needed to hear that, but Mercury, you know. Anyway,
so I think
very good scene.
About all we can say about them for
all
now.
We can fit
that's all we have time for.
So
already 2 minutes over.
Well, that's okay. Anyway, thank you for watching.
All right.
Bye.
See you later.